My wife sent me a text. I want a divorce. I didn't say much back, just replied, all communication from my lawyer. She responded with a simple, understood. After that, I went ahead and shut down her credit cards. Cut off all the financial support. 3 days later, 72 hours, give or take, her lawyer was suddenly trying to get a hold of me in a panic. Now, this is the original post. I'm a 42-year-old guy, still kind of trying to make sense of everything. Honestly, I've just been moving through the motions like a machine. It's oddly calm, in a way that doesn't feel right. This all started on a Tuesday afternoon. I was buried deep in some work, spreadsheets, numbers, the usual. Then my phone buzzed. It was from Claire, my wife. She's 39. The message was short and hit like a punch. Lucas, I want a divorce. Please direct all future communication through my lawyer, Mr. Harlow. His contact information will follow. That was it. 15 years of marriage, gone in a single text message. No heads up, no fight, nothing. Just the night before, we'd sat down to dinner together. We'd even talked about what we wanted to do over the weekend. Everything seemed normal. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, gave away what was coming. I just sat there staring at my phone for maybe 5 minutes. Before I continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new and interesting stories. Put likes. But back to the story. The emotions came in waves: shock first, then hurt, then anger. But underneath all that was this cold, detached clarity. She'd made her position clear. She wanted it handled by lawyers. So that's how I responded. Understood. From that moment on, I shifted into practical mode. If we were going to go the legal route, that meant every informal part of our marriage was effectively off the table. We'd always kept our main finances mostly separate. Day-to-day spending was done from our own personal accounts. I'd learned that lesson from watching my parents' divorce get messy. Claire had her own account, and I had mine. Still, she was an authorized user on a few of my credit cards. Not joint, just added access. So I logged into my banking apps, found the cards, and shut hers down. She was no longer authorized. That was that. I used to send her a bit of spending money every month, just a personal allowance, you could say. Went into my bank and canceled the auto transfer right then and there. We had shared subscriptions too, Netflix, Prime, that kind of thing, all under my name. I signed out of every other device, changed all the passwords. If she still wants to stream, she can pay for her own accounts now. The car she drives? Leased under my name. I didn't pull the insurance immediately, too risky and, frankly, irresponsible. But I made a note to talk to my lawyer about transferring the lease as soon as possible. The gas card she used was tied to one of those canceled credit cards anyway, so that was a dead end now too. All in all, it took maybe half an hour. None of it was done out of spite or as payback. It was just me accepting the new terms she laid out. She wanted lawyers involved? Fine. Lawyers work off contracts, not assumptions. Marriage used to be the contract, now it wasn't. About an hour after her message, I got an email with her lawyer's contact info. I forwarded it to Ms. Whitman, a divorce attorney a colleague of mine had recommended. Sent her a quick email. Wife's demanding a divorce. Wants it handled legally. Need advice, fast. I wrapped up the work project I was on, headed home. The house was quiet, empty. She must have packed up and left while I was at the office. I actually slept okay that night, surprisingly. Then comes Friday afternoon. Phone rings. Unknown number. Something told me to pick up. Hello, is this Lucas, last name? The voice was sharp, clipped. This is Mr. Harlow. I represent Claire, last name. My client is experiencing some difficulties. I kept my tone even. She's having trouble with her cards being declined, he said. Access to funds has been abruptly shut off. This is highly irregular. Financial status quo is generally expected during a separation, Mr. Last name. I stayed calm and replied, Mr. Harlow. My wife texted me Tuesday saying she wanted a divorce. She made it clear that all communication had to go through you. So that's what I did. I acknowledged and complied. Any financial arrangements we had were informal. If she needs support now, it'll need to be discussed properly through you and my lawyer, Ms. Whitman. Cole is the attorney I've hired to represent me. There was a pause on the line, some paper shuffling, I think. Then Mr. Harlow continued. She needs funds immediately. For essentials. A place to stay. Accommodation. I was honestly caught off guard. Where is she staying now? I asked. That's not relevant, he shot back. You acted in bad faith by cutting off her access without any notice. His tone had shifted, cooler now, more formal. I kept my voice steady. Mr. Harlow, my wife ended our marriage out of the blue with a text message. She set the terms herself, no direct contact, only through lawyers. That ended whatever informal trust or communication we had. From here on out, any financial support will be determined through legal channels, not by frantic calls about her cards being declined. She wasn't the primary cardholder, I added after a pause. My client is requesting emergency financial relief, he said stiffly. That's her right. Then submit any filings through my attorney, Ms. Whitman, I replied. You have her contact info? Yes, he said shortly. Great. Then, per my wife's own instructions, this conversation is over. Good day. I hung up. My heart was thudding in my chest, adrenaline flooding in, but at the same time, I felt strangely validated. She wanted this handled the cold, legal way. So that's exactly what she's getting. Now, I'm just waiting for the next move from Ms. Whitman. This is only the beginning. Update 1 week later. It's been a week since Claire sent that divorce text, and, no surprise, things have escalated, just like I figured they would. Thanks to everyone who reached out in the comments and DMs. It's comforting to hear that I'm not the crazy one here. Ms. Whitman responded quickly, got back to me the same day Mr. Harlow called. She's sharp. She confirmed that everything I'd done so far was entirely reasonable and logical, especially given the abrupt and legal-heavy way Claire handled it. She told me to document everything going forward. Mr. Harlow's first official legal move came on Monday. He filed a formal request asking for emergency temporary spousal support. He also demanded exclusive use of the marital home. Yes, the same home she already walked out of. And the amount of support she wanted? Astronomical. Basically, she was asking me to keep paying for her old lifestyle, plus her new housing, plus her legal expenses. It was entitlement on another level. Ms. Whitman filed a response. She countered with a much more reasonable support amount based strictly on her actual needs. She also pointed out that Claire had voluntarily left the home, which I'm still living in. And she emphasized how I'd been following the exact communication rules Claire set up from day one. That's when the personal attack started. Claire's best friend, Jenna, called me Wednesday night. I picked up, honestly thinking I might get some info. Big mistake. Lucas, what the actual fuck? No hello. No how are you? Just straight into it. Hello, Jenna. I said tired. Don't Jenna me, she snapped. Claire's sleeping on my couch. You cut her off. She can't even buy groceries. She's basically homeless now. Jenna, I said firmly. Claire asked for a divorce over text. She said all communication had to go through her lawyer. I followed that. I respected what she asked. Bullshit, she barked. You know she barely works. How's she supposed to survive? She's scared. Now for context, Claire works part-time as a freelance graphic designer. She brings in a little money each month, but it's never been enough to support her fully. It was basically pocket money. She chose to hire a lawyer and start this whole process without even talking to me first. I told Jenna. I made it clear, any financial discussion needs to go through the lawyers. That's how she set it up. You're being cruel. Vindictive, she accused. Jenna, I said, staying calm. After 15 years together, Claire didn't just leave. She nuked the marriage and made it entirely legal from the jump. That was her call. Saying lawyers only is a deliberate, specific move. And hiring Mr. Harlow. I added. Another mistake. There was a long silence on the line. Then she said, she deserves support. You always took care of her. I would have talked things through, I said, if she hadn't gone nuclear out of nowhere. But she made the rules. So now we stick to them. She's going to take you for everything, Jenna snapped. She's welcome to try. I replied calmly. It's all going through legal channels now. My attorney is handling it. This conversation's over. And I hung up. So now, apparently, I'm the bad guy for doing exactly what Claire asked. Meanwhile, she's telling everyone she's the helpless victim in all this. Yesterday, I got an alert from the bank. There was an attempted withdrawal from an old savings account we'd opened years ago and completely forgotten about. We hadn't touched it in ages. It wasn't part of our active finances, and it only had maybe $500 sitting in it. Turns out Claire still had the debit card. She tried to clean it out. The bank flagged the sudden activity on the dormant account. I went down there, explained that we're in the middle of a divorce, and asked them to freeze the account until everything is legally settled. It's not about the money. It's the principle, especially while her lawyer is accusing me of acting in bad faith. Daniel, one of Ms. Whitman's legal associates, says this actually works in our favor. It proves that Claire isn't just sitting back waiting for court decisions. She's trying to work the system behind the scenes, even though she's the one who demanded everything go through lawyers in the first place. Now, we're just waiting for the emergency support hearing and the next court date. Claire's still crashing on Jenna's couch. At this point, I imagine Mr. Harlow is finally starting to realize his client thought she'd be handed a blank check. That's not how any of this works. The shock has mostly worn off now. What's left is just this gritty, steady determination. This whole thing's gonna suck, but I'm ready for it. Update 2. 3 weeks in. Well, things got nastier. Not surprising, I know, but still, here we are. We had the emergency support hearing last week. Claire showed up in person. She looked tired, worn down. Wouldn't make eye contact with me. Mr. Harlow tried to paint her as completely destitute, said she was a victim of my malicious financial decisions. But Ms. Whitman was calm and methodical. She pulled up the text Claire sent, where she made it crystal clear all communication was to go through lawyers. Then she walked through the timeline. Bank records showed I canceled the supplementary cards and cut the allowance, but only after Claire's message. Even after that, I kept covering the mortgage, utilities, the car lease, and insurance, all the major fixed expenses. We also brought up the attempted withdrawal from that dormant joint account. After demanding legal-only contact, Claire had quietly tried to drain it. Then came her income, her part-time freelance gigs. They proved she wasn't broke. She just didn't have access to her usual spending money. The judge wasn't impressed by Mr. Harlow's dramatic framing. He turned to Claire and asked why she hadn't brought any of this up before going full legal. She mumbled something about being intimidated, which is honestly laughable. I'm not intimidating. The judge looked doubtful. In the end, the court approved temporary support, but it leaned heavily in our favor. Enough to cover basic needs and a small legal contribution, but nothing close to what she was asking for. No luxury budget. No lifestyle maintenance. And the judge straight up said that her current circumstances were partly due to her own actions, the sudden text, the lawyer-only demand, and the sneaky bank move. Felt like we dodged a bullet. But I knew better than to think it was over. This week? That's when the real game started. Dirty trick number 1. Someone made an anonymous complaint to my company's HR department. Said I was using company resources for personal legal stuff. Also accused me of erratic behavior and emotional instability. All of it was bogus. I've only ever used my personal phone and email for anything related to the divorce. Luckily, my boss knows me well. HR took a quick look, checked the logs, saw nothing weird, and then had a short meeting with me. I calmly explained the situation, and that was that. Dismissed. But the intention was obvious. They were trying to jeopardize my job. Ms. Whitman said it's hard to trace an anonymous tip, but it's another move that shows a pattern. Dirty trick number 2. Claire's mom called me, crying and accusing. Why are you doing this to her? She's struggling. The judge was unfair. You need to give her more. Think of everything she's done for you over the years. I stuck to the facts. I reminded her that Claire was the one who chose this route. She asked for everything to go through lawyers, and that's exactly what's happening. Of course, she didn't like hearing that. Called me heartless, then hung up on me. Emotional manipulation is the theme now. They really thought I'd keep bankrolling her forever, no questions asked. My approach? Stay logical. Stay firm. Reacting isn't enough anymore. I realized I had to take the offensive, close off any loopholes they could exploit. Do it by the book. The car. Ms. Whitman drafted a formal letter to Mr. Harlow. Now that support's been established, Claire needs to deal with the car. She can either take over the lease if she qualifies or return it entirely. Starting next billing cycle, I'll stop making the payments. The insurance I've been maintaining? That ends in 30 days. It's her responsibility now. She can sort it out legally, just like everything else. The house. We filed for exclusive use of the home, especially since she left and the judge didn't grant it to her. We also kicked off the property valuation process for a possible sale or buyout. A buyout's probably not feasible on her end. Her finances won't support it. The goal now is to establish clean legal control and push ahead with asset division. We're also demanding full financial disclosure from her. No more half-truths or assumptions. It's time everything's on the table. I've got a strong hunch Claire's still hiding assets somewhere. So now we're pushing hard for full financial transparency, legally required at this point. If she's keeping anything off the books, it's going to come back to bite her. I've been careful to document everything, every manipulative phone call, every passive-aggressive text, every detail of that bogus HR complaint. Dates, times, summaries, logged and ready. Ms. Whitman says it all helps establish a pattern of bad faith behavior, which can absolutely impact the final settlement and even the allocation of legal fees. This isn't about revenge. It's about calmly and methodically handling the fallout, within the legal framework Claire herself insisted on. And now that her side's resorting to shady tactics, I've got zero interest in playing nice. We're following the rules, their rules. But that HR stunt? That crossed a serious line. So we responded with firm, strategic legal steps. Then, out of nowhere, Claire broke her own rule. Yesterday, she texted me directly. Lucas, you can't take the car. How am I supposed to get anywhere? I didn't even respond personally. Just screenshotted the message and forwarded it straight to Ms. Whitman. Her reply to Claire was brief and to the point. As per your explicit request, all communication must go through counsel. Please contact Mr. Harlow. Total silence after that. Final update, 6 months later. It's been about 7 months since Claire fired off that divorce text. Feels like a lifetime ago. The divorce was finalized last month, and now that the dust is settled, here's the final chapter. The last 6 months were absolute legal trench warfare. Delays, drama, and non-stop victim playing from Claire's side. Mr. Harlow dragged things out, rejected multiple reasonable offers, and seemed allergic to compromise. The car turned into a major battlefield. Claire didn't qualify to take over the lease, but she also refused to give the car back. Mr. Harlow tried to claim it was a necessity. Ms. Whitman countered with facts. Temporary support already covered basic transportation. We gave them a firm deadline. When it passed without any action, I notified the leasing company that I was done making payments. Claire wasn't authorized to keep it. They repossessed it right off the curb outside Jenna's place. And right on cue, the frantic calls started. Jenna, Claire's mom, all of it. I ignored them. Just forwarded everything to Ms. Whitman. Claire was livid, but at that point, she was boxed in by her own decisions. Actions have consequences. The house? We got the exclusive use order. Eventually sold the place faster than expected. The equity from the sale went into escrow while we worked through division. Claire fought for a bigger cut, claiming financial hardship and disadvantage. So we pressed for full financial discovery. And here's the kicker. She had to disclose everything. Turns out she had a separate savings account, money her parents had been giving her for years. On top of that, she had some inherited stocks she conveniently forgot to mention earlier. Nothing massive, but still far more than the $500 she tried to yank from our forgotten joint account. Mr. Harlow argued those were separate, untouchable assets. Ms. Whitman proved there was commingling with marital funds. That made them fair game. As for the anonymous complaint to my job, we couldn't directly link it to Claire, but the judge noted the timing and content. Didn't lead to damages, but it definitely colored how the court viewed her behavior. The final settlement. We wrapped it up just before heading into a full-blown trial. The judge was clearly getting frustrated with Claire's antics during pretrial discussions. She was staring down the barrel of an even worse outcome, not to mention possibly getting slapped with my legal fees. That pressure pushed her to settle. We ended up splitting the house equity almost 50-50ths, though I got a slight edge because of the hidden assets. The stocks were divided as marital property. She kept her small personal savings account. Spousal support? Limited to 2 years, rehabilitative only. And it was far less than she initially demanded. It was enough support to help her land on her feet, but not enough to bankroll the lifestyle she used to have. And that support was contingent on her making a real effort to become financially self-sufficient. As for the legal fees, we each covered our own. That alone felt like a win. I didn't push for her to pay mine. Wasn't worth dragging things out further. The aftermath? Claire's now living in a modest apartment and working more hours. Still complains about money, though always through someone else, never directly. The struggle's finally reaching her, though not enough to bring any real self-reflection. Jenna, who once screamed at me over the phone, has quietly backed off. My guess? Claire became a burden real fast. Her parents are probably still helping out behind the scenes, but I'm not involved, and I don't ask. And remorse? Not a hint. No apology. She still seems confused that I didn't just keep financially supporting her after she dropped a divorce bomb by text. That deep sense of entitlement ran further than I realized. It's like she truly believed she was owed a certain standard of living, no matter how she chose to exit the marriage. As for me, yeah, those 7 months were rough. It was expensive. It was stressful. But now, I'm good. Actually, I'm better. There's a kind of peace that comes with closing a messy chapter the right way. I kept my job, held on to my integrity, came away with a fair share of the assets. And maybe most importantly, I proved to myself I can handle a crisis strategically. I've been hitting the gym again, catching up with friends, some Claire always found reasons to avoid. I enjoy the stillness of my home now. No dramatic Hollywood-style revenge story, just slow, steady progress. The consequences of her choices met by calm, clear, legal resistance from me. She wanted formal. She wanted cold. She wanted it all to be legal. Well, she got exactly that. And for me, that's enough satisfaction. Thanks for giving me the space to lay it all out. Honestly, getting this off my chest helped more than I expected. Now, it's time to move forward.